This is Madeline Westerhout, and what I'm about to tell you is absolutely nuts, but probably not shocking knowing what we know about Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump is someone who has never been faithful. Donald Trump has cheated on all three of his wives. Trump had an affair with Marla Maples, with his first wife, Ivana. That would lead to a second marriage with Marla Maples. While still married to Marla Maples, he had an affair with Melania Trump. And of course, we all know that Donald Trump had multiple instances of fun outside of the marriage, especially with Stormy Daniels, famously. Well, that's what brings us to Madeline Westerhout through new allegations that have come out that say that Donald Trump may have been doing a lot with his then assistant in the White House, who was 28 at the time. Donald Trump allegedly told his friends he was, quote, banging his 28-year-old White House assistant, a prominent author claimed to Jeffrey Epstein. Michael Wolff, who has written several books and articles about Trump, made the claim in a draft of a portion of a book shared with the pedophile financier in a 2019 email. So this is all coming out. There's 20,000 emails. This is one of the emails that this was a story that was written and was sent to Epstein to review. I don't know why a journalist would be sending their story to someone they were covering to review. That's a side issue, but still, maybe in some ways we're glad he did, because this story is now coming out. Now, Miss Westerhout has replied to this, and I will give you that reply in just a moment. But as I said, the email was released as part of the 23,000 document trove of communications and papers handed to Congress by Epstein's estate. The draft recalls Trump's decision to spend the 2018 Christmas holiday at the White House rather than to camp with his family to Mar-a-Lago. First Lady Melania Trump had already left for Florida, but did return briefly to spend Christmas Eve and Christmas Day in D.C. But in text, which was edited to remove the identity of the aide in his 2019 book Siege, Wolff claimed in an empty White House, Trump's personal secretary, 28-year-old Madeline Westerhout, brought his papers and call sheets from the West Wing up to the residence, finding him, she told friends, in his underwear. Jesus. Whoa. I did not need that image. No. Miss Westerhout. God, I mean, I feel like she should sue. Miss Westerhout was a longtime member of Trump's staff and the former elevator attendant at Trump Tower during the transition. The draft reads, quote, Bannon recalled noting that Trump took a particular interest in her. Alluring Trump kept repeating, she's got a way about her, his signature and creepy stamp of approval for young women. Now the president was telling friends that he wasn't staying at the White House because of the shutdown. He was staying because he was banging Madeline. Shutdown bravado, locker room talk, or all part of a new alternative reality that only he seemed to be living in. Through her lawyer, Ms. Westerhout said these are absurd and defamatory accusations from a discredited writer who has been known to peddle falsehoods. The lies in this email are unhinged from reality and simply not true. In the 2020 book entitled Off the Record, Ms. Westerhout recounts her sacking from the White House staff after she made indiscreet comments to reporters about the president's family, but it makes no mention of a relationship between her and the president. The book does say, I must give a special thanks to President Trump. More than 2.5 years I spent sitting outside the Oval Office were the most exciting of my life. I wish everyone could get to know him the way I did. Oh, oh really? Again, I mean, I'm going to say this every time it's brought up. They're a hoax and a scam. Only he's now directing the Attorney General to go after the Democrats who are in the files. He's calling it a Democratic hoax and a scam, but the files are real when they're talking about the Democrats, but not when they're talking about Trump. Caroline Leavitt said that these stories are nothing more than bad faith efforts to distract from President Trump's historic accomplishments, and any American with common sense sees right through this hoax and clear distraction from the government opening back up again. So again, I mean, this is not probably not an unusual thing for us to be hearing, that Donald Trump may have been doing that with someone that worked for him when he's married. That is kind of what Donald Trump does. And I don't know whether or not those allegations are true or not, but as I'm sure you know in your own personal life, the things you are willing to say to someone you know when you think the conversations are private are more likely to be truthful than the things that you say in public knowing that everyone can hear it. So to me, the fact that this information is being discussed in an email that was intended to be private, to me gives it more legitimacy than if it were kind of said in a public statement or, you know, broke into the news in a way so that someone could garner attention. So I don't know whether or not that's true or not, but I think it's really another example too of why Donald Trump doesn't want these files to be released, because clearly there's a lot of information out there about him. He was close to Epstein. We don't know how deeply connected he was to the crimes that Epstein committed, but it's just, you know, if he were innocent, it's as simple as this. If he were innocent, he'd want the files to be released. He'd say, release them all, but he's not doing that. And that means something. We already did a video on this. I want to just show you again in case you didn't see that one. I think this is very interesting. There's all these books coming out. Now, there was a book that came out about Epstein and Melania. And Melania and Donald Trump forced the publisher to delete this story from the book, even though 60,000 books were already printed. And the author is so sure about the facts around the story that he's saying it in public, even though it's not printed. And here's what he had to say about how Melania and Epstein were actually lovers.
So here we are with him in Mar-a-Lago, as you see, with Epstein. Sorry, can you see okay? Epstein, a woman called Gwendolyn Beck, who Andrew took to the island, and Melania. I had various references in my book to Melania Trump. Epstein had actually been her lover before Trump, but Trump didn't like that in the book, so he ordered it to be taken out of the book. After about 60,000 copies had been printed, so it seemed to be a pretty pointless gesture, but anyway, our publishers did it, but I keep spreading the word.
Yeah. So I just gotta say to you, these are just not good people. None of them. No one comes across looking good in any of this. Melania, Epstein, Trump, anyone connected in this circle. I just think it's a bunch of unsophisticated assholes who've done really bad things, and we all have to hear about it over and over again. And I hope that the release of the files will start the beginning of the end of all of this, to be honest. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, please hit like. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Bye.